Hey guys, welcome to my video. I am your host, the J-Man, and today I want to talk about UFC 119, which happened last Saturday. And where do I begin with this one? I hate to sit here and complain and rant about how terrible something was. There's plenty of criticism all over the internet. Um, I'm here to support the UFC and get people interested in MMA. I want people to, want to talk about it, want to discuss it, want to watch it, and go out there and enjoy the fights. Really, promote the fighters. But unfortunately, when things like this happen and we have such a lackluster event, and we can't ignore it. I can't ignore it. It just has to be brought to everybody's attention that it was a terrible fight. The main event sucked, and it was a true disappointment. I knew it wouldn't be good in the first place. I had a feeling it was going to stink, and it definitely lived up to its expectation and more. Uh, hmm. Who do you blame in a situation like this? I have to point the finger at Joe Silva once again. I really think this guy is doing a horrible job. He puts together these matches. Crow Cop versus Mir. I know Crow Cop was a replacement. It was supposed to be Nogueira. But really, I've talked about that before. Nogueira versus Mir wouldn't have been all that great anyway. It's a rematch. Yeah, you can say whatever you want about the first fight not being fair, but anyway, would have been a rematch. But now we had Crow Cop take place of Nogueira, a kind of a last minute replacement or whatever. Why Crow Cop? That's my thing. Out of everybody who's available to fight, all those heavyweights, why Crow Cop? I mean, really, I know you needed a guy to put in the main event to try to sell tickets. You needed name recognition, but you already have Frank Mir. You don't really have to have another big name next to him. Frank Mir, a former champion, the only guy who really beat Frank Mir lately has been Shane Carwin, other than Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar, he's the champ. So Frank Mir, really, he's still a pretty big name. There are a lot of guys you can put him up against and still sell tickets, but the fight has to be interesting. And Joe Silva goes and he puts Crow Cop in there. Crow Cop kind of had an eye injury, nothing serious, but it was a small concern. I don't think Crow Cop was game for this fight. He wasn't really geared up for it. He just had a match against Pat Barry not that long ago, and that was very lackluster. I wish they had picked somebody else to replace Mir, and I could sit here and I could list names of people that would have been a better replacement, and you can argue back and forth that no, those guys wouldn't have been any better, they would have been worse, but I'm pretty sure they could have had somebody else to fight Mir that would have made a more interesting fight. Not necessarily a close competition, but a more interesting fight. Style-wise, these two didn't match up well. It's going to be pretty much Mir trying to take down Crow Cop, and Mir's not a superb wrestler, and Crow Cop, his striking lately has been really poor. So, hey, you should have known that Frank Mir would have been able to defend, and Crow Cop, he defended really well against Mir's wrestling, which wasn't up to standard. This proved to be a boring fight. Neither fighter was risking much or putting themselves on the line. And I hate to say it, the whole event itself is pretty sucky. With the exception of Evan Dunham versus Sean Shirk and maybe a few other fights, it was a very slow night, to say the least. But this is going to put the UFC in the grave if it keeps up. Well, give me your thoughts, give me your comments, and I'll see you next time.